we can say that Kanye's tripping. We can say that Kanye's removed from his community, but we cannot defend his statements. There's no way we can try to use arithmetic and algebra.
Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly. You're listening to The Fly Guy Show. They do everything on the fly and in such a fly manner. Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.
All that party. All right, yo, we got the 3, the 2, and the 1. It's your man DJ Seiko Varner back with the Fly Guy podcast. Got my cousin Sam on the line. Got my brethren from another mother and father, Dan Trez Omi, on the line. What's good, fellas?
It's good. Can't complain.
All right.
I'm here on time.
Yo, so a second ago, just before we started, we said we're not going to talk about Kanye West. We're going to talk about Bill Cosby. And then you bring up mental health. So, all right. So what's your take with Kanye and mental health? And then Danny said, I got the biggest. Go ahead. What were you saying, man?
No, Danny was about ready to start. I just made a statement about mental health in our community. A lot of times I feel in our communities, we don't in our community, we don't deal with mental health. Or we'll be like, we can just pray it away. We don't sometimes face these issues. And we know what happens when we don't face issues. They fester, they come out in different ways. So that's kind of what I was thinking about, especially like with Kanye and all the stuff that he's been saying. Is a prime example of when you don't have community and you don't have, I feel, coping mechanisms to deal with tragedy, because not everyone deals with everything the same way. So I feel like whatever's happened to him in his personal life, it's affected his mental state, and he's, it is what it is. But Dan was about to go, so I know Dan needs at least a good 12 minutes. All right, Dan. I started the time.
I'm going to say 3 things. Yeah, I'm going to say 3 things. I think we should have this podcast. We should have like a couple of segments on mental health. I sincerely believe that. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Number 2, I think we should be careful on blaming the things that he said on mental health, right? And I'm not saying he doesn't suffer from mental health issues. It's clear that the brother, he does need support from somebody, and I think that. That's something that we should discuss, right? Like, I don't think, because a lot of people are blaming it on his mental health, but a lot of stuff that he says, there are a lot of people that agree with him on that. And a lot of people that kind of said the same thing. And then, if we're going to go there, because if we're going to say he's having mental health issues when it comes to the stuff with Trump, then we got to say the same thing about Jim Brown. We got to say the same thing about Steve Harvey. These are all notable blacks, black African Americans who've come out in support of Trump. So, we can go there, right? Sheriff Stephen Clark, we go on and on. But the last thing I wanted to say was, I was listening to the Fan Bros show and they had Daniel Jose Older on there. He's a author, great writer. He's a great author. And he said something that really made me think about Kanye. He said that we have a white supremacist view of success, right? Whereas we become successful and we want to move out of our community and move away from the people that kind of like really brought us to where we at, success, right? Because we're not islands, right? There are people that around us that made us successful, no matter where we came at on this planet. But he says that's probably what he alluded. He didn't say that, but he alluded. That's what a lot of celebrities suffer from, and a lot of people that make a lot of money. They move away from their community, their support system. They divorce themselves from the people that made them, family, friends, college buddies, et cetera, mentors, et cetera, that was in that community that kept them grounded. And because they're away from that, they start to be around people that really don't have their best interests at heart at all.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah. And that creating silos will have that impact. Now, one thing I think is interesting is, did you hear the song that T.I. and Kanye dropped where they actually were having a conversation about his statements?
I read somewhere about, I didn't hear a song, but I read how T.I. was saying, was asking him like, yo, these are some damaging things. And I think Kanye he said that about the travel ban. Remember the travel ban that he was trying to do towards Muslims? And he brought that up to Kanye, and Kanye was like, I didn't know about that. I did see that statement, but I didn't hear the song, you know.
All right, yeah. There's a song, I heard it in the mix. DJ B was playing it. Salute DJ B. 757, stand up, 2 up, 2 down. And it was kind of interesting because it was like a dialogue. You know how Tribe Called Quest and the old school hip hoppers, you know, pre-80s used to do routines. I said pre-80s, I didn't mean pre-80s. Pre-90s used to do routines where they went back and forth. Well, in this song, Kanye and T.I. go back and forth, where T.I. is saying, dude, you're messing up. You're explaining your messaging is incorrect. You're not seeing the whole picture. And Kanye's trying to describe why he made those statements in support of Trump. And I actually thought it was kind of interesting. It's definitely a lyrical record. And T.I. went in, and Kanye said some interesting things as well. But when I deal with Kanye and his message on Trump, I understand what Kanye was trying to say. I understand what he didn't say well. And I think, like you just said, Danny, since he's removed himself from his consumer base, you know, his consumer base used to be his people. Those are the people he hung around with. You know, when he was coming up, making tracks, performing, those people he hung around with were his consumer base. Now he's totally removed from his consumer base, and the values that he's started to express are more like the Trumps, the Kardashians, those who are removed. They may interact with their consumer base, but they're really, in terms of values, removed. Now, the fact that he's wearing the MAGA hat, you know, Make America Great Again, when first time I heard Trump say that, I looked at it two ways. All right, so I remember when Ronald Reagan said it, and he said, Make America Great. So when I heard Trump say, Make America Great Again, my first thought was, he's trying to do a Ronald Reagan. He's trying to make America great, and he's going to try it again. The other way that most of us see it is Make America Great Again, as if America had a great history and has moved away from that great history. And I think we all agree that the great things that some people might see in America's history did not include us.
Exactly.
Right. So I think that Kanye is looking at the Make America Great part, and he's focusing on that. And I think he's ignoring the again because it doesn't help him move forward. And I don't think he did a good job of explaining that, and I may not either. So
yeah, I'm gonna say you did not. I don't think we can. You know, like we can say that Kanye's tripping. We can say that Kanye's removed from his community, but we cannot defend his statements. There's no way we can try to use arithmetic and algebra to, you know what I'm saying? And we got to be real careful. I get it. When he first came out, I remember Mos Def saying specifically, Yasin Bey saying specifically, he's gonna save hip hop. I remember that. I remember that. I remember he did that song, and then Talib Kweli was like, "Yeah, let's bring Lauren back." Like I remember all these people, these legends who were like, Kanye's the next best thing, right?
Right.
And we want, so we want to say we should try to figure out what he was trying to say, but he's not trying to be, deep. He's not trying to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to act like he's deep, calling himself a free thinker, but he's not. And I don't think nobody should defend what he got to say. Quite honestly, he's always done stuff like this, these kind of stunts, and that's what you expect from Kanye. So I don't know why everybody's tripping. And I think a lot of it is just that we remember this old Kanye. What we should be saying is make Kanye great again. That's what we need to be saying, right? And somebody had a shirt like that said "Make Kanye Great Again." I think it was Macy Gray. It was Macy Gray that had that hat, and I think that's what we're looking for. And we need to stop trying to defend them. We need to try to stop saying. We need to just say. We need to, like people say during the racial draft, we need to go ahead and trade them off.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kanye, you just lost your card, bro.
But we should talk about mental health. I think that's a discussion that we should have. Like, I think actually what I think we should do is I think we should sit down, maybe email each other and discuss like a different topic, make it part of a segment, and we discuss it. If we have to bring somebody else in, I really think that it needs to be done.
It's too important in our communities. You know, we just talk, keep on keeping on. We're just talk, keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward, and we do that. And I think part of that has made us Black people strong in the essence of no matter what's thrown at us, we keep moving forward. But you got to take a moment at some point and deal with things as they occur. And I think that we have to talk about this. And as far as Kanye, I think another problem is, especially with, I do believe that Kanye does have some form of mental illness. But what I also feel is that a lot of times when Black people get money and get white famous or whatever, like we said, you're disconnected from everything that made you you. You're now something else. Now you have access to shit you ain't had before. You've had more money now than you've ever had. You taking care of everybody. You doing all this stuff. And for a lot of us, I think that once you separate yourself from the foundation and base of who you are, you become something else. And I think a lot of Black celebrities who are famous and who are wealthy, have a lot of money, I'm not going to say all, but I think some see themselves as white people.
All right, then what's your definition of white people then?
I would say my definition of white people is, as far as when they see themselves in society, they have privilege to a certain degree. Can they get, experience racism and prejudice? They Black, absolutely. But the amount of privilege that they have compared to the rest of us, it's not the same.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
He's right. Yeah.
All right, so you're pretty much saying their wealth buys them a privilege that the African, the normal African just doesn't get.
Exactly. Yep. The thing is now, like Dave Chappelle, I didn't watch his comedy special. I was meaning to, but he made a point. He's like, Trump isn't for, Trump is for us rich people.
I saw that. It was,
and I'm like, you're right. Because at the end of the day, rich people want to deal with other rich people. They looking, I got money, you got money, let's make more money. You're going to be treated differently when you have a certain status, especially in this country and others as well. The more money you have, the more you're able to do, the more you have access to stuff, and the more people treat you different.
And you see that as being white?
I don't know if you could say maybe not being white, but I'll say this. It gives you a certain level of privilege. You're not treated like the average Black dude. You're not.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Although I haven't had the experience of having millions and having that privilege.
Right.
And I did think at a time that education would provide me with a level of privilege that would overcome some of the stereotypes. And I had my N-word wake-up call.
You went back up with Paul Mooney, huh? Paul Mooney, that was his stand-up. Yep.
Yeah. And, and it's interesting when you see people get their N-word wake-up call. Like, there was an NFL player who recently got jumped on by the 5-0. Did you see that?
In the parking lot?
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when Oprah got her wake-up call when she went shopping.
Yeah.
They were like, get out of here. So I agree. Let's find a way to include mental health in what we're doing here with the Fly Guy podcast, because, we have an opportunity to make sure that more and more of us feel comfortable with seeking assistance. When I was going through something, I sought assistance. If my leg breaks, I'm going to find somebody to assist me.
Right.
Because it's not operating at its full capacity. So when you're not operating at your full mental capacity, it should not be a problem for you to find somebody to assist you. But it is. It is.
Because oftentimes seeking psychiatric help is seen as like, sometimes we have the thing, you don't bring outside people into your affairs. You just keep it in-house. You don't talk about it. And that's kind of one of the problems I think that when it comes to mental health. Another thing too is that sometimes there's like a stigma behind it. Like if you go talk to someone about the problems you're going through, then people look at you like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Not looking at, you notice that you've identified that you need help with something on a mental and emotional issue and you're seeking help. People look at you like, well, why are you going to go teach somebody? What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Yep.
So, we have to push past those stigmas. It's one of those things that regardless of our race, we're all still people and everyone processes trauma.
You know what? In the mental health field, particularly in education, there's this buzz phrase called trauma-informed. So now we have schools that are developing trauma-informed curriculum. We have counselors who are going through trauma-informed counseling practices. We have teachers who are supposed to start learning trauma-informed teaching, which simply means that we recognize that a person who's going through trauma is going to respond in a couple of different ways, many of which are going to be averse to the type of environment or the type of behaviors that we want to happen. Like, so if somebody's in trauma, something's either going to get exacerbated or it's going to get extremely minimalized. All right. I think we just lost Sam, but he'll come back.
Okay.
When somebody's under trauma, they're going to have a hard time staying in attention. When somebody's experiencing trauma, they're going to have a hard time focusing and processing. So their processing speed actually goes down. So now when we look at a student who's not doing well in school, if they're experiencing some level of trauma, then one of the problems is they're not going to capture the information just because the teacher is presenting it. You know what I'm saying? So, wow, we do have an opportunity and possibly even a duty to be part of that vanguard and making sure that people realize it's okay to get mental health support.
And you know what? You just told me right now. With that kind of information you just gave me, that I want to do research on and that I want to implement into my curriculum. And I think that's the kind of information we need to put out. Like, that's stuff that we need to discuss. And I think because a lot of times we get into we need mental health, but we need to put out the tools that people need, access, information, doctors, counselors that they can talk to, and give them that information and really, not only have that discussion going, because I'm pretty sure there's somebody who's listening to us who's going through that trauma that you're talking about, but they don't know who to go to.
All right. Well,
and we don't got to do that. We don't got to do that today. I'm just saying we need to have that discussion offline and then start talking about that and maybe make it a segment on the Fly Guys podcast.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. We had talked about kicking around the idea about discussing Bill Cosby. One of the things that I've learned years ago, and it's an easy statement, that hurt people hurt people. All right. So when we look at Cosby's situation, are we looking at a situation of a hurt person continuing to share hurt in a maladaptive way? When we look at R. Kelly's situation, are we looking at the same thing? It's incredible to me that in some ways, oh man, and I guess I'm having a hard time with the whole situation. So let's go back. You said
let me say this. Let me say this about Bill Cosby.
All right.
And I'm going to tell you, and I could be dead wrong about this. Okay. It seems like Bill Cosby had a fetish for having sex with unconscious women. And what happened is he was somebody that was in a powerful position to take advantage of women and drug them while having sex with them. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And that's what I believe. I don't think he went through any sort of trauma that caused him to do that. I sincerely believe he had a fetish for it, right? And he just used his power and his influence to take advantage of these women and cover it up. That's what I sincerely believe.
Okay, and I would say, and I'm not psychoanalyzing Dr. Cosby at all, I would say that somebody who goes through trauma, the response to trauma can be addiction. The response to trauma can be having a psychiatric breakdown, but it also can be when somebody starts developing a tic. That person can start developing, what's something when you use the term fetish. As a result of a trauma, somebody can develop a fetish. Or a person that has that behavior, and I can't think right now, they have that behavior where they do things repeatedly over and over and over. Help me out with the term there.
Insanity? Right?
OCD. They become obsessive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
OCD can be
a compulsive disorder. Okay.
A compulsive disorder. What I'm saying is, as a result of trauma, somebody can develop a disorder. And there are multiple disorders that they can develop. A fetish is similar to OCD, where you can't get it out your mind. You're just compelled to do it. And I'm not putting up for them. I'm simply saying that I wonder, when we look at the phrase hurt people, if we're seeing his expression, his behavior was him hurting, and I'm not taking up for it. If he drugged those ladies, and right now he's been convicted of it. So he drugged those ladies based on the conviction, and had sex with them based on the conviction. And he needs to pay based on the laws. But the other thing is, I look at other people who develop OCDs and destructive tendencies, and I just wonder how much of that could have been avoided if we could have gotten them the help early on.
So you're saying, and you know what? I want to, and this goes kind of back to what I was saying about Kanye. Like, what bothers me the most is that, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Sekou. What bothers me the most is when somebody does something heinous, particularly with white folks, when they do something heinous, they want to say it's a mental health issue.
Right.
And I think we got to be careful, because what ends up happening is when we do that, it paints all people with mental health issues as being, having the potential to commit these heinous crimes when we know that they're not. Right? I know plenty of people who have mental health issues, who are going through therapy, who take medication, who, are not taking medication, or not going through therapy, and they've been diagnosed with these mental health issues, and they don't have these problems. They're not committing crimes, these heinous crimes. They're not abusing other people. So I think you got to be real careful. And I'm not saying that you're doing it, but it's real easy to do that. And then now we're looking at, this is why we look at people who are going through therapy. We look at them funny, because we have these notions that these people are out here doing all this crazy stuff. I hate to use the word crazy. They're doing all these heinous crimes, and we assume that there's something wrong. We try to explain it away. When, again, I'm gonna stick to my guns on this. Bill Cosby just had this fetish, just like I like thick women, right? He had this fetish where he liked having sex with unconscious people, and he just had the power, the money, and the influence to drug people and do away with however he want to do with them, and he had the power to cover it up and pay people off. All right. And that's how we're gonna explain it. And I know it's tough for a lot of us, because a lot of us grew up on, Fat Albert. A lot of us grew up on I Spy. A lot of us grew up on the Cosby Show. A Different World and Cosby Show, top 5 sitcoms ever in the history of sitcoms, black or white. I'm not even going front. I know people that went to college, the HBCUs, because of A Different World. Right. I know people that went to HBCUs because of Hillman College. I know people who pledged frat and soror because of Cosby Show and A Different World. I know people that was in the hood that was like, you know what? I want to marry somebody who's a doctor or a lawyer, and I want to become a doctor or lawyer because of the. I'm not going front, right? But he did it. He's Bill Cosby. He did it. We gotta get over it. Yeah. We gotta admit and get over it and move on.
He is Bill Cosby. My point, though, is when somebody faces trauma, it doesn't mean they're going to become a criminal or they're going to do heinous acts. I'm simply saying trauma often leads to disorders, and those disorders sometimes can lead to heinous acts. Hey, okay. Came up twice. So I just think that it's kind of, it's important, like we're saying now, that we really need to deal with mental health issues because we might prevent somebody from having a disorder that turns into a heinous act. Other thing I want to say about Bill Cosby is that I think he started off doing what his contemporaries were doing. When you look at Hugh Hefner and some of those other guys, and now it's coming out with the Weinstein guy, this is what Hollywood and Hollyweird and very influential this is what rich white folks been doing for years. And with Cosby, that same behavior turned into a fetish using dance terms, and then turned into something where in Hugh Hefner's situation, it may have been totally consensual the whole time. These chicks knew they were taking the drugs. They knew what he was going to do when that's what they came for.
But Hugh Hefner's also been accused of rape too. Yeah. There's a lot over the years. There's been allegations. There's been allegations that Hugh Hefner being accused of rape, being accused of drugging women, being accused of taking advantage of women. There's thousands, all kinds of people that's come out, lawsuits and stuff like that. He just got the money to cover that up.
You're making my point. He did exactly what his contemporaries were doing. As heinous as it was, he did exactly what his contemporaries, but then he went off the hill with it. You know what I'm saying? I think he went off he started doing it. He was extreme. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I think a lot of times, I'm gonna tell you this: money gives you the ability to do things you never thought possible. A lot of times when we think about money, we think about, I can buy this big house, I can buy this big car, I can buy this jewelry, I can bling out, whatever. Money gives you the ability to do a whole bunch of shit you ain't never thought about fucking doing. And fetishes are part of it too. I mean, as far as Bill Cosby, I believe it. It saddens me, but the fucked up thing is it's the world we live in. And I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of times, unfortunately, in this society, women are seen as less than. And as a commodity, it's something to have. And I know some of them may have known that he had that fetish. A lot of times, having a fetish and having mental illness are two different things. We still don't understand why certain things turn us on that do nothing for somebody else.
Yeah.
I think as far as I think with Bill Cosby and Hugh Hefner and all of them, dudes had some serious money. And at the end of the day, you could be the ugliest, funniest looking motherfucker there is. But if you got money, it opens a lot of doors for you. And it opens it helps you get a lot of ass. And on a sexual note, I think a lot of times people are more freakier than they're willing to admit. And they don't share everything that they like. People like a lot of shit out here that you would be absolutely surprised.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. And I do think that the access to that crazy stuff, which may come with money, in addition to somebody going through trauma, when you just mix all of those things together, you got a horrible, heinous, despicable situation such as Bill Cosby. And I hate to say that about my frat brother, but it did hurt me.
That's right, he is your frat. Oh, yeah. He is your frat brother.
As a matter of fact, with my mentorship program, by the way, we have 7 minutes left. With my mentorship program, this went quick. With my mentorship program, Bill Cosby was one of our icons. And about 5 years ago, we had to take him down because, we just got the word, hey, with all this stuff that's happening, we need to move Brother Cosby from it so people don't think that we're endorsing whatever may happen later on.
Right. You got to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But
I do remember y'all had like his silhouette on one of y'all stuff. I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. It ain't there anymore.
and look, like I said in my podcast, his book on fatherhood, I own a copy, and I swore by it. I swore by it. I swore by that book. So I understand. I understand why people go out and defend them. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, what we got to understand is that we as human beings are multifaceted. And so...
Oh, did you say faceted?
Yeah, or I don't know if I fuck it. You're not going to say it fucking
He got off the air and went and got some to drink?
Hey. Well, yeah, my fucking internet connection, but...
hey, you know I slur all the time, so I'm the wrong person to joke on that. But multifaceted, okay.
Multifaceted. You know what I'm trying to say, damn it. You know what I'm trying to say. We are so...
It ain't cool, that was tripping. I was going to keep going.
We are so... We are so complex. And the thing is... When people experience us, they experience us in different levels and in different ways. And so the way one person experienced Bill Cosby is not another person's experience or another person's experience. And so you can read his book. It can help you as a parent. But if you were one of the women who dealt with him on that level, your experience with him is going to be completely different.
Yeah. Now, I do want to salute Dan Trez for highlighting the there used to be this talk about the reason that these things were happening to Bill Cosby dealt with his attempts to take over NBC. And I want to say in your podcast, you did an excellent job sharing the information on that. Now, I don't necessarily think that he didn't face consequences for publicly saying that he was going after NBC. I think actually that's why his son was killed personally. But you gave some really great information, so I want to salute you on that, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. Did that?
Yeah, you did.
So I guess we're gonna have to make the hashtag "Make Kanye Great Again." Hey man, we got 5 minutes left. What do you think about the mute R. Kelly deal?
All for it. Also, real quick, this weekend for Mother's Day, the hashtag Free Black Mamas. Please support that hashtag. Please hashtag out the End Bailout and Black Lives Matter. They do this campaign. This is the second time they're doing it for Mother's Day, where they're raising money to free mothers that are in jail and they can't afford bail to come out so they can spend time with their kids. So, Free Black Mom. And yes, and they do it for Father's Day too. So, but Free Black Mamas hashtag. And mute R. Kelly hashtag all the way. And yes, it is started by Black women. Because your boy Tariq and I see it started by Black women. And on the board of directors are 3 Black men. So just to put that out there. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that one is hurting me because I was DJing the other day and I was like, okay, Step in the Name of Love. I'm about to, man, should I play that? And I had to sit there I almost let the record run out. While I was sitting there, I was debating with myself, well, it's just a song. Nah, that's going to support it, man. So I really at the end of the day, I didn't play the song. It didn't change the party. The party was still turned. So, yeah, I guess I support it as well. As much as I love his music, man. As much as I love his music. And it's sad that a lot of our geniuses do some really screwed up stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, creativity and madness, they kind of all the same.
And add money into that, yeah, it's just...
And Malcolm Gladwell on Deezus and Merle's show, shout out to Deezus and Merle, he talked about that. He said he didn't want none of his kids to be geniuses. He said because what ends up happening is they focus on that one aspect of what they're doing and they neglect everything else.
Yeah.
So, and I was just like, wow, that's a good point.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, salute Malcolm Gladwell. He's always dropping some good stuff, man.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, so it's mute R. Kelly. It's what is it? F. Bill Cosby. I can't remember what the hashtag is.
Well, Free Black Mamas. Hashtag Free Black Mamas.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep it positive. Hashtag Free Black Mamas. Hey, everybody give your moms hugs for Mother's Day.
True indeed, and Wakanda forever, of course.
Yeah.
Yo, we got 2 minutes left, man. Why don't we give everybody a deeper chance to get to know each one of you? So, you know me, conscious, conservative, Christian-based. I'm a mess. That's my positioning. Conscious, Christian, conservative, Christian-based. Conscious, conservative, Christian-based. That's my stuff. What are you, Sam?
Me, I am your neighborhood kind of well-balanced, sarcastic, funny, but fun-loving person. So you're going to get some wisdom, you're going to get something funny, and you're going to get a whole lot of sarcasm.
Gotcha. All right, and Mr. Progressive.
I'm gonna take it from Jesus and Murrow. Dan Trezomi, aka Pretty Flaco, aka Que Lo Que, aka Trez Khalifa. That's what you're gonna get from me. So check me out on Twitter at Dan Trezomi. Yep.
All right. On your Twitters, you say what is something about Afro-futurist?
Afro-Latino b-boy. Actually, is underwear model too. I'm trying to get a Calvin Klein deal to be an underwear model, man. So I'm trying to get that on. So
okay.
So it says underwear model, Afro-Latino b-boy, feminist, and writer and podcaster. Yep.
All right, good stuff. And what's the name of your podcast?
Where My Killer Tape at?
Got you. And Sam, where can they catch you online?
I'm on Instagram, Sam's Corner 2018, the same for Twitter.
That's what's up. Your man DJ Seiko Varner, hashtag DJ Seiko Varner, at Grandpa Crunk. I'll tell that story a little later. Hey, fellas, this was a great one. I enjoyed this one. So, hashtag Free Black Mamas. All right? And everybody kiss and hug your mama. All right? Stay fly. Peace.
Stay fly.
Peace.
Award-winning producer Raheem Shabazz continues the Elementary Genocide documentary series with The School to Prison Pipeline. That film exposes the social engineering done to African-American children in the school system. And his other film, Elementary Genocide 2, The Board of Education versus the Board of Incarceration, takes an even deeper look at the history of the American school system and how it was made to justify subjugating Black Americans. These films are on track to be the most discussed films in Black America. These films feature people like Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, and many, many more. The documentary is available right now at elementarygenocide.com. That's elementarygenocide.com.
Stay fly.